Life can be tough. We get knocked around. We get worn down. We get used up. No one gives us a warranty. No one gives us an expiration date. We're not built to last forever. We are built to be naturally healthy while we're here. And at the gates of our well-being, a tremendously powerful, complex, and often misunderstood organ stands guard, and our very lives depend upon it. We are part flesh and bone, part intellect and passion. We are walking, talking miracles and low-odds winners in the game of survival. To exist in an often hostile environment, we come equipped with a liver, the body's second largest organ, and a football-shaped master of multitasking. The liver rocks. Think of it as a chemical power plant. It converts the nutrients in food into muscles, energy, hormones, vitamins and minerals, and sugars, even the factors that cause blood to clot. And there's more. The liver is also an awesome filter. Eat it. Drink it. Breathe it. Put it on your skin. If it contains toxins or other harmful substances, the liver, like a good football lineman, throws a big block. The liver takes a little bulk to do its job. It weighs in at about 3 pounds and sits positioned up under the rib cage to shield it from the everyday bumps and jolts of life. But the liver is vulnerable to damage. Strangely, many of the things we like, things we often consider okay or have been told are safe, can morph into a street gang of liver killers when they're misused or abused. Here's the usual suspects. Alcohol, the #1 liver killer, period. Each year, alcohol causes the deaths of 1,700 college students, and well over 500,000 students suffer non-fatal injuries. Drugs. A heavy load for the liver. Even prescription drugs, some herbal products, and over-the-counter medicines containing acetaminophen. Obesity. Carrying a serious amount of extra weight doesn't just make a fat belly, it makes a fat liver. And a fat liver gets clogged up. Viral infections. These seriously dangerous viruses can be spread through exposure to another person's blood or body fluids. Unprotected sex. The hepatitis B virus takes the Metro Express through the bloodstream, so don't let its next stop be Liver City. Another killer? Hepatitis C, often spread by sharing contaminated needles used for injection drugs. But there are other ways to become infected, like sharing razors and toothbrushes. And if you're considering a tattoo, remember it goes on with a needle. Once the hepatitis virus is in your blood, it might as well have a built-in GPS with all routes leading to the liver.
You have reached your destination.
Alcohol, drugs, and hepatitis viruses attack the liver, causing the cells to become inflamed and eventually die. As liver cells die, they form scar tissue called cirrhosis. As cirrhosis advances, the liver works less efficiently and more toxins enter the body. But the liver produces no pain, no warning signs, until it becomes seriously damaged. Knocking out any one of your liver's functions can knock you out for good. A lot of college students like to party. Some students like to party hard. Advertisers bombard us with messages about good times with alcohol. They'd like you to think it's the only way to party.
In our culture, we think college is where everybody drinks heavy. But in truth, here's how it falls out. 1 in 5 college students doesn't drink at all. 2 in 5 college students have 1 to 4 drinks when they go out. 2 in 5 have 5 or more, and this one does it quite frequently. And as you go binging over 4 or 5, that loads up your liver. And the liver doesn't complain, it'll do it, but it damages it.
My name is Tyler Reed. I'm 26 years old and I grew up in South New Jersey.
My name is Sarah Nerad. I'm a young person in long-term recovery, which means I've not used drugs or alcohol since 2007, and I'm from Houston, Texas.
I was a kid and we just had a bottle of alcohol and without really any experience, we just started drinking on Sunday night, and I woke up 6 hours later after we started in the hospital.
It just felt like nothing was ever enough. You know, and it started from just being on the weekends with my girlfriends to then starting to use other substances, then starting to use after school, to then maybe sometimes before school, and before I knew it, it was just an everyday thing. Stopping wasn't my choice. It was usually because we ran out or everyone was going home. So if it was up to me, I would have continued to drink as much for as long as, you know, my body could handle it.
It wasn't out of the question for me to have between 50 and 60 drinks in a night.
I got into recovery and I thought that my life was over. I thought that I was going to be boring and lame, and that is so not what happened. I can show up for my life today, and I can be free, and I get to be happy, and I can be there. I think for me the biggest thing is I can be there for my family. I want to be there for my family.
Well, now it's a different story, you know. It's really night and day, the way my life was then and the way that my life is now. You know, I've found ways of living without needing the effects that I got from alcohol and drugs.
Binge drinking also contributes to a long, sad list of the dark side of human conduct, including drunk driving, assault, unintentional injuries, and alcohol poisoning. You just can't predict what you'll do when you're drunk.
As a family nurse practitioner in clinic, I see students who don't understand the risks of binge drinking. So for example, at New Year's, I had students who went out, drank way too much. One of them blacked out and was raped. One of them got themselves a DUI, and the other one missed deadlines for a graduate application that they had wanted to submit. All of those students devastated their lives by one night where they didn't pay attention to their drinking.
Though alcohol remains the #1 drug of choice on America's campuses, you don't need to look very far to find deadly runner-ups. They look innocent enough. Most of them are bottled up with neat, official-looking labels. A prescription written by a doctor, or a friend's doctor, or stolen from the medicine cabinet. Easy to take, easy to get high, easy to kill yourself.
There's a lot of people out there that think of prescription drugs, even prescription drugs that weren't intended for them, as still being completely safe or very legal, or that there's no danger of side effects such as addiction, and that's not the case.
My name is Brian Kaiser. I'm 24 years old. I'm from Orlando, Florida. I'm positive for hepatitis C. About 2 years ago, I started getting into pharmaceuticals, oxycodone and Dilaudid, and I started using them intravenously. I would share needles. I'm fairly confident that somewhere along the lines there is where I ended up picking up hepatitis C. Once I became physically addicted to those, and it really sealed the deal as far as my, college career, because I was no longer able to think past, my next high. Now my view on prescription drugs is that they're by far the most powerful drugs out there. It eventually took me to hit bottom, which was living in my car in a parking lot of an apartment complex, to realize that it wasn't working.
Many students don't know that prescription drug overdose is now the #1 cause of death of young adults in America, surpassing car accidents. And it isn't prescription drugs by themselves, it's prescription drugs mixed with other molecules, like alcohol, like over-the-counter products, like smoking things that have stuff laced in it. So when someone dies of a prescription drug overdose, it's usually a mixed molecule problem.
My name is James Marshall. I currently live in Edgewater, Florida. I initially got prescription drugs from a family member. My sister was being prescribed Xanax and Adderall. I combined my prescription drug use with alcohol, with cocaine, with marijuana. My consequences still toward the beginning were waking up with someone that I should not have slept with, and slowly it became I was waking up in the hospital. I woke up in jail, finding out later that I had crashed a car. I realized that I had an addiction and I needed help when I was 23 years old. I was on Xanax and drinking, and I didn't want to live anymore.
There's a long, long list of liver wreckers that we don't even begin to suspect. And they're available everywhere. Like fast food and bottled drinks. Over-the-counter drugs are part of the American way of life. Got a pain? There's a pill. Can't go? There's a pill. Can't sleep. Got a sting, cold, itch, zit, rash, cough? There's a pill. Americans expect instant cures, and sometimes the promise comes with a much higher price than the medication.
For instance, a typical day for a college student could start with waking up in the morning with, crick in the neck, so they take some acetaminophen, and then later for dinner that night they have a lot of, fatty foods, and then later that night they have some drinks with friends, and then they're not feeling so good then, they're getting a headache, so they have some acetaminophen, and the next morning they have a hangover, so they have some more, and just in that 24-hour period, there's some damage that was done to the liver, and they didn't even realize it.
What worries me the most in clinic is that my charming, risk-taking students who are going to figure out how to cure cancer and do amazing things accidentally damage themselves and take years off their lives because they don't realize that this one night of drinking, one night of unprotected sex can permanently damage the body and the liver that they need to carry them through time.
It's a powerful little miracle worker with a perfectly suited name, the liver. Give it a break, and it'll last a lifetime. And tell your friends about this great wingman, this silent guardian angel we carry inside us. Love your liver, and live well, live long, live life.